Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
A mother will step in front of a bus for a child, not throw him under it.
Whose son OD'd, and his friends blame mom.
I do feel that Heather killed Brandon.
I did not kill him.
The drugs.
You said you showed Heather the crushed pills that Brandon took from her purse.
Yes.
He did not show me that.
The alcohol.
I showed her everything on the counter. Beer cans, the vodka bottle.
I didn't see any beer cans.
The accusations.
I was 15. I woke up to Heather being on top of me.
Did you have relations with AJ?
No, I did not.
With Mark?
Oh my God. It's ludicrous. He's the one who's buying all these people off.
Now.
I believe you have an addiction problem.
This is just not what I came on this show for.
The dramatic conclusion.
If you don't get yourself straightened out, we're going to be burying you. Yesterday, I sat down with Brian and Heather, whose 15-year-old son, Brandon, tragically died 5 years ago of an accidental drug overdose after swallowing and snorting Heather's morphine pills, along with vodka and beer. Now, Heather was tried for manslaughter and negligent homicide in his death, and she was acquitted of those charges last year. I want to be very clear about that. Here's what happened yesterday.
The night that Brandon passed away, I wasn't there. So what I know is Brandon asked Heather to buy him alcohol. She obliged. She bought him beer. She bought him vodka.
Did you or did you not buy these minors alcohol?
No, I did not, Dr. Phil. I did see them trying to drink.
Are you telling me that you knew your son was drinking that night?
I didn't think he was drinking. I thought
You
I
walked
caught it in
into
time.
the kitchen and he was standing with a drink in his hand, and you didn't think he was drinking?
I know that they were drinking, but I didn't think.
You died because you didn't think.
Brandon goes into her room, takes her morphine tablets. He crushes them up. They snort them up their nose, and they continue to drink.
By our math of your reports and the others that were there, your son consumed approximately 22 beers, 4 or 5 shots of vodka, took 3 morphine tablets, and sniffed 4 rails of morphine.
That's the allegations, yes.
Yeah. Do you dispute that?
I do.
Travis decides he wants to go home. Heather comes out in her own testimony and says Brandon was too drunk to drive. He was belligerent. He was falling into the walls. She drives Travis home. Brandon is fading in the back seat as if he wants to sleep, so she comes inside to get him a pillow and a blanket.
I was actually, oh good, he's sleeping. I gave him a pillow and a blanket and gave him a kiss goodnight.
Heather never called 911. What kind of animal is she? She's a monster.
Are you on medication now?
Minimal.
Because you're slurring your words.
I have brain injury, Dr. Phil.
I have a card here of your behavior prior to the show, according to your friend Bernice.
Last night, what you did to me is unforgivable, Heather. She took 39 narcotics within 20 hours. I honestly believe you died. Your eyes rolled in the back of your head, you started seizing, and then your mouth fell open. My son had to witness all this, Heather, my 11-year-old son. I was so scared, Heather. I cannot believe you did this to me.
And now the story continues. Dr. Phil's big ultimatum for accused mother Heather.
Now, one of the consistent allegations against Heather was that she may have supplied her son with the alcohol he drank the night of his death. Now, some of Brandon's friends who were there the night he died are here today to tell their side of the story. Take a look, and then we'll talk.
I really saw a change in Brandon's behavior when he went and lived with his mother. Brandon started partying a lot. Heather knew we were partying. She would buy us the alcohol for the parties.
I witnessed Heather buying alcohol for not only Brandon, but also for me on numerous occasions.
She partied with us a couple times, but she'd usually stay in her room. She would let us party and pretty much do whatever we wanted.
We'd go to the hotel rooms and she'd buy us beer and liquor, weed, hang out there, drink, have fun.
The night that Brandon died, we go to Mom's house, had 2 or 3 beers, started doing some vodka shots. We were hanging out in the kitchen, which is very close to Heather's bedroom. He comes back out with her purse, pulls out an orange pill bottle, and started crushing them on the table. He did one. I couldn't do it, so he ended up finishing what he had portioned out for me. Then I did decide I wanted to go home. I went and asked Heather, Brandon's mom, if she could bring me home. So she ends up coming into the kitchen, all the alcohol, the painkillers, very, very obvious of what we were doing. She didn't say anything, so got dropped off. Last time I heard Brandon's voice was him singing to the radio in the back seat and slowly fade away.
I walked to the kitchen, saw the mess of pills and cans all over the kitchen counter. I was pretty worried what was going on, so I waited for Brandon and Heather to get back. Only Heather walked inside, and I asked, do you think we should bring Brandon to the hospital? And Heather said, no. I checked on Brandon a few times, and I went to sleep. In the morning, I walked into the garage. I found him passed away in a car. Seeing his face is still burning in my head. It's very hard.
I do feel that Heather killed Brandon. Knowing that she bought him alcohol, weed, and I knew that he was taking prescription drugs from her. I don't know if she gave it to him or if he took it, but either way, she knew about it.
She could have brought him to the hospital. Instead, she tried saving her own self.
She is the reason why Brandon isn't here today. She had a responsibility to take care of him, and she didn't.
Well, joining us now are Travis, AJ, Mark, and Chris. And guys, thank you so much for being here. I wish we were talking about anything else besides this. And I can't tell you how much I wish Brandon was in the 5th chair sitting right next to you. Chris, let me talk to you first. Now, you say you witnessed Heather buying Brandon and friends alcohol. Is that true?
Yes.
And tell me about that.
That was really hard. I was 15 years old and I just witnessed my friend pass away. And police are asking me if we bought alcohol. Yes, we did. I had a hard time remembering when. It wasn't. We went to Ashford's Spirit, and I still remember that night very clearly. Usually when we bought alcohol, it was usually that night. But it was not that night. It wasn't the night before. It was before that. We went in, Heather and Brandon went in because Heather could not physically pick up the beer. She had Brandon go in with her and pick it up.
But you say you don't drink.
No.
So who were you buying it for?
I wasn't in there buying anything. I told you, the videotape at Ashford Spirit.
Which is a store.
Which is a store. They didn't know me, and they have camera right there with everybody coming in. They did not see me at all the day before, the day of, or the day after buying. They didn't even know who I was, buying alcohol for any one of those kids.
Did you ever go in there and buy alcohol with Brandon?
No.
Never happened?
No,
Chris?
Children weren't allowed in there. That's ludicrous.
Chris, what do you say about that?
He's listening to
All I really
his
have
buddy right there and what to say.
All I really have to say is if you were 15 years old, would you go to your family's package store to buy alcohol? Would that make any sense?
Well,
And you said you showed Heather the crushed pills that Brandon took from her purse?
Yes.
That night. You showed them to her when?
When she got back from dropping Travis off.
Okay. So when she gets back from dropping you, Travis, off, you show her the crushed pills. She comes in without Brandon.
Yes.
He's in the car. She comes in without him. You show her the crushed pills on the counter and say what?
I showed her what he was doing. I said I was sick. I hadn't been up. I showed her everything on the counter, and I asked her, should we bring Brandon to the hospital? She said, no, he'll be all right. Just we'll check on him for a little while, which in turn meant I was going to check on him because she went to bed.
Did you check on him?
I checked on him twice.
Did she ever check on him?
No.
Okay, why did you leave your son in the car? Why did you think he was asleep in the back of the car? Did you think he was drunk?
No.
You just thought he was asleep?
No, I thought he was finally, it was like 5 in the morning, and he was finally getting some sleep. So I went in, got a pillow and a blanket, gave him a kiss on the forehead, love you, baby, and that was it.
But when it came time to take Travis home, you didn't want to ride with him driving, correct, Travis?
He's underage.
Why?
He didn't have...
He was very, very drunk.
I'm sorry?
He was very drunk.
He was very drunk?
Yes.
And did you tell Heather that?
Yeah.
You said he's too drunk to drive me home?
Yeah, I did.
I understand he didn't have a license and he was underage, but he did drive.
Yes.
And you said, no, I don't want him taking me home. He's too drunk. Did he tell you that?
No.
Travis did not tell you he's too drunk, come take me home.
No, he said, I want you to take me home. And he also told me that he snuck out and that he didn't want me to tell his father.
We haven't heard everything Brandon's friends have to say about Heather's behavior. One of them has another shocking accusation. We might as well get it all on the table. We'll be right back.
We got a hotel room. Heather bought us a liter of vodka and a six-pack. All three of us were pretty drunk. I woke up to Heather being on top of me.
You got to understand, Heather, you have a serious, serious addiction.
How dare you? This is just not what I came on this show for.
Heather bought Brandon marijuana all the time, and I didn't know it. These struggles that we went through with his drug use, the whole time he was getting it from his mother, is just disgusting. She was his mother. How can you do that? How do you give alcohol, marijuana, and prescription drugs to a 15-year-old person?
I've never bought drugs and or alcohol for Brandon Lee Spezialski. Never.
Well, that was Heather, who says her life has not been the same since she found her 15-year-old son Brandon dead in the back seat of her car 5 years ago. He died of what appears to be an accidental overdose after swallowing and snorting Heather's morphine pills along with vodka and beer. Now, Brandon's father and best friends all blame Heather for Brandon's death because they say she bought her son alcohol and allowed him access to drugs. Here's what DCFS said about what happened. Brandon's mother observed her child inebriated and was reported to have knowledge of his drug and alcohol use on that evening. She had multiple opportunities to seek medical treatment but failed to do so. She failed to obtain medical treatment in a reasonable amount of time. According to her reported time frame, the child died between 6:30 and 8:30 a.m. It is reasonable to believe if Brandon was provided medical treatment during the 4-hour time frame that his mother had contact with him, his chances of survival may have been dramatically increased. Instead, she displaced her responsibility on Chris, who was feeling ill. Now, that was their finding.
That was an allegation. Yes, it was.
No, it was a finding.
A finding of...
By that agency.
Yes.
Department of Child and Family Services.
Yes. I mean, it was unsubstantiated. I mean, they couldn't... They say that...
Well, it was...
What about yours, Brian?
It was...
Your packet of
okay,
it before.
hold on. Hang on.
That put him in depression and started him
We're talking
doing
to
drugs.
me. We're talking to me. We're talking to me. These are not unsubstantiated because we have Chris here who's saying he showed you the crushed up pills on the counter.
He's saving himself because he changed his story.
I'm not sure how that helps him.
No, he changed his story because first,
and AJ
I'm sorry to
is
interrupt
saying,
you, but first Brian came to the house, was screaming at Chris. Chris was taking the blame for it. I was out on the porch. I didn't know what was going on. Chris told me before we got in, because there was Doritos, everything all over the place. He told me to go to bed and let Brandon clean up the next morning. That's exactly what you said. Are you going to say that you didn't say that?
When did I say that?
You told me when I started cleaning up to not clean up and let Brandon do it the next morning.
Okay, what were you cleaning up?
Well, I started cleaning there was a table there.
What were you cleaning off of the table?
Well, there was Doritos, just mess, a huge mess. And it was 5:30 in the morning.
Were there beer cans?
I didn't see any beer cans, no, sir. I told you, I saw the vodka bottle, yes. I don't know where they got that from.
Okay.
But that went down the drain and I threw it in the garbage. And for everybody to boo
Chris,
me, nobody knows my story, so at least...
Well, we're trying to learn it. Chris, were there beer cans?
Yeah, it was the only thing dirty in the house.
I'm sorry?
It was the counter, and it had the pills, the beer cans, and the vodka bottle.
Okay, I think the point is, Heather, that according to what you're saying that you knew your son was drinking vodka, which is worse than beer. Chris is saying he showed you crushed up pills where he had crushed up morphine tablets.
He did not show me that.
Them.
No, he did not show me that. He did not tell me that. Okay. He came in earlier.
Travis is saying he came to you and said he's too drunk.
That was the first time Travis was ever at the house. I never even knew he existed.
Okay, so he certainly had no agenda against you because you didn't even know he existed.
He does because Brian paid him off the $100 a head.
Brandon was mad that I wouldn't let him drive me home. He was too intoxicated. I didn't want any of us to get hurt. And she said, "Oh, don't worry about him.
Can we take polygraphs?
He's been that drunk before." She's known him being that drunk before.
Now, AJ has another revelation about Heather.
In the summer of 2007, I was 15. Me, Brandon, and Heather went to a mall. After shopping for a while, we got a hotel room. We went to the package store where Heather bought us a liter of vodka and a 6-pack of other alcoholic beverage. And we went back to the hotel room. All three of us were pretty drunk. Brandon ended up passing out on the bed where I laid next to him and Heather laid next to me. Earlier in the morning, I woke up to Heather being on top of me, performing in sexual activities. We were having sex. I was very shocked that happened, knowing that Brandon was sleeping 6 inches away from me, and why his mother would do that. So I was very stunned. I felt sick to my stomach, and I had to leave. I didn't know how to tell my best friend about what his mother had done. Since the night in the hotel, I've never discussed the matter with Heather. Been carrying me for almost 6 years now.
Heather, what do you say about that?
I really don't know what to say. All I know is...
Did that happen?
No. The detectives came to my door.
We're not talking about the door. We're asking whether or not you had sex with this...
He was a child.
Exactly.
Exactly. No,
he says he
I was
woke
going out
up
with my fiance was 42 that died in the accident. I don't.
Was this a close call? Is there anything fuzzy about this at all, AJ?
Not at all. Not at all. It happened. It needs to come out, and it happened.
My child died.
Did you have sexual...
I don't really care about anybody else but myself right now.
Did you have sexual relations with him?
A mother will step in front of a bus for a child, not throw him under it.
And later, there's a question on the floor. You're either willing to accept it or you're not.
I'm scared. I am scared. I'm a mess. I have so much anger inside.
He straight up says that you sexually assaulted him in his sleep in,
It makes me sick.
in 2007.
It really makes me sick.
Did that happen?
No. It makes me sick to actually have those allegations against me. I don't even know what to do. I feel off. I feel so off. I don't even know what to do with my life. I don't even know. People are coming at me at all angles, and Brian's the main person coming at me.
But you have AJ down here who said, and I quote, because it really jumped out at me.
AJ
He said, and I quote, "I don't want any secrets anymore. I just wish I could have my best friend back."
My child died. In my arms, he was gone.
Did you have sexual...
I don't really care about anybody else but myself right now.
Did you have sexual relations with him?
No, I don't.
You cared about yourself instead of...
Did you have sexual relations with AJ?
I want to
And
have
then
to get
too.
this. Brian,
You should have put him first. You're second. A woman always puts her child
Of
first.
course.
Parents put
Of
their kids
course.
first. Always.
And you broke his nose and put him in depression and
Hey, listen, a mother will step in front of a bus for a child, not throw him under it. That's
like
what
you
you did.
did?
Did you have sexual relations with AJ?
No, I did not.
Did you have sexual relations with Mark, who's sitting right next to you?
Oh my God. Mark was my son. I mean, that's ludicrous. I took care of him since he was a child.
Mark, what do you have to say?
I was 11. It was the exact morning of September 11th. I was home from school. I actually got suspended. I woke up with her hand in my pants, and just straight to the point, I remember she just said, when we stood up after, it was probably 15 minutes after, and she's just like, I wish you were older. Or only if you were older, sorry.
Did that come from him?
Nah, it's more of what I thought about is, you know, Brandon, I didn't want to have to bring all this up.
Mark, you're all about the money.
Yeah, you're right.
You came to me for cleats. I didn't give you any more money. There was no money. You went to him. Everybody else is being paid off by him, and I mean, I have proof of in those testimonies that I gave you. There was text messages when he opened a salon and said, it's $100 a head if you testify against me and say that I bought drugs and alcohol for him. That's why he did that. It was him. He's the one who's buying all these people off. I just have no proof of it, but
Well, let's
I mean,
ask him. Mark, did he pay you to say that, or did it actually happen?
Dr. Phil, absolutely not. No.
And AJ, did this actually happen?
This actually happened.
Do you want to hear some thoughts from me?
Of course I do. I feel like the whole world's against me. That's what I feel like.
I understand.
And I mean, everybody, this is my life. I go home to this.
I understand.
You know, and I'm concerned, and I don't know how to get on with my life now.
Take some responsibility.
Well,
He's
listen.
talking, Brian. Shut your mouth for once.
You've been charged with manslaughter twice.
They were both accidents.
You come out here, you're slurring your words. If you don't admit what's going on and get yourself straightened out, we're going to be burying you in a very short period of time.
If somebody said that I killed my son, I would say that obviously you don't know me. I loved my child more than I think anybody could ever love a child. I still love my baby. I still talk to him all the time.
Bottom line is, he died because of her. If she wasn't in his life, he would have lived.
We've been talking to Brian and Heather, whose 15-year-old son, Brandon, tragically died 5 years ago of an accidental drug overdose after swallowing and snorting Heather's morphine pills along with vodka and beer. Now, Heather was tried for manslaughter and negligent homicide in his death, and she was acquitted of those charges last year. I want to be very clear about that. Brian says he still believes she's guilty. In fact, he brought a civil suit against her and got an award of damages against her for the death. And of course, there are very different standards of proof in criminal versus civil proceedings. You know, I wasn't there for any of these events. Are you with me here? You listening to me?
Yes.
I know that he is very upset, has a lot of unfinished business, has taken out ads against you, has sued you, sought your prosecution. Is part of this driven by his own guilt for saying to himself that he should have seen this coming or something? I mean, only he knows that. But what I'm looking at is just the pattern here. And you've been charged with manslaughter twice. I think alcohol and drugs have been involved both times.
Yes, I was connected to 2 deaths.
Yeah.
But they were both accidents.
I understand, and they both involved...
And I loved them both very much.
They both involved alcohol and drugs, though, correct?
Well, yes.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just telling you.
Yes.
I'm just telling you in
but
terms
I don't
of.
drink. I don't. I'm on prescription drugs. I'm trying so hard to get off of them.
But really listen to me right now. It's
I'm sorry,
important
I'm
that you
sorry.
hear this.
Go ahead.
because, you know, I kind of go through a differential diagnostic process in my brain. This is just the way I think. And so I look at long-term patterns, and I see here that you've been charged with manslaughter twice. Both times have involved alcohol and drugs. The second time, your own son tragically lost his life. We have Chris here, who is saying that you certainly knew that there was drinking and drugs involved. We have this young man, Travis, who didn't even want to ride in the car because of fear that your son was so incapacitated that he couldn't operate the vehicle safely. Then we have these two young men in the middle, AJ and Mark, who are saying that you've been inappropriate with them on 2 occasions. I have no doubt that that involved an altered state of consciousness. We have your friend who you brought with you from Connecticut to come with you and support you here, who says that you're yelling, screaming, embarrassing her, actually took enough medication to shut down your respiration. She's pounding on your chest, slapping your face, rushing you to the emergency room. You come out here, you're slurring your words. You're making no sense with many of the things that you're saying. And so it tells me that you are in a very compromised and incapacitated state. This is not my first time to do this kind of thing. And I believe if you don't admit what's going on and get yourself straightened out, we're going to be burying you in a very short period of time. That's what I think. I believe you have an addiction problem. I think you need help, but you have to take it. And if you don't, you're going to wind up dead. Will you make the commitment to do it?
Brandon was my only child, and anybody that loves a child more than themselves knows that that is such a huge change in anybody's life. That hole in my heart will never heal. Best card I was ever dealt is having my son Brandon. The worst card was when I lost Brandon.
I believe you have an addiction problem. And I think it is impairing your thinking, it is impairing your judgment, and I think you are medicating yourself out of guilt and fear and running from it, and you can run, but you'll just die tired because you can never escape it. And the one thing he said, as much as he has disdain for you, is he said, admit what's happened and get yourself straight. Even he, through all of his angst and hatred towards you, is telling you to get help. And you need to get help. If you do not, you're going to kill yourself and probably somebody else. And the best friend you got in this room is sitting right there in that chair, Bernice. And the second best friend you've got in the room is me. Because I'm telling you, I don't think you're some horrible person that should be put under the jail. I think you need help. And if you'll take it, I'll set it up and give it to you. I will get you the help, but you have to take it. And if you don't, you're going to wind up dead, bottom line. And you can debate what you knew or didn't know that night. I think you were high that night.
Dr. Phil, when
and
your
made
son
really
dies,
bad judgment.
You want to die. I want to die every day of my life.
I agree. I understand.
I mean, you're not supposed to ever cremate and put in a little box that I saw that he did, a child.
I don't know what you want out of this, but I'm telling you that you're not ever going to have a rational conversation with her until she's clean and sober. And that needs to happen before anything else happens. And I'm telling you, I will make arrangements to put you into a dual diagnosis drug rehabilitation facility that will deal with your depression, it will deal with your personality issues, and it will deal with your addiction. If you will take that help, I will set it up and make it happen for you. But the deal is, you go there from here. You don't go home. You don't go get your stuff together. You go there from here, direct. There is no stop in between. And I think you have to have medical supervision concerning withdrawal and detox. And I think without it, you could put yourself in serious harm's way. So I think this has to be medically supervised, and I think it has to be to criteria, not some 28-day wonder. I think you have to work till it's right. And if you have any options, then I don't know what they are. I'm offering this to you, and I'm asking you, will you make the commitment to do it?
My doctor is working with me back home.
Yeah.
Let me finish, please. Let me talk,
okay,
please.
you think about that.
Had their time. Let me talk.
You gather your thoughts. We're going to take a break. Then you can tell me what you want to say. There have been a lot of allegations made today, but Brian says he only wants one thing from her. I don't know if he's going to get what he came for or not, but we're going to talk about that when we return, and we're going to let her say what she wants to say. We'll be right back. What is it you want from her?
I really don't want anything from her. I mean, I came to the show for some awareness for parents.
I understand.
If she gets help, that's great. I wish she would take some responsibility for her actions. It would help in her getting better, I think, and moving forward with her life. That would be, for her sake. I don't really care what she does at this point. But, I came here, parents that are having problems with their teens, what signs there are, if there's a number they can call, a hotline, where they can get help. I mean, those are important to me because we found ourselves in a position, where, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know she was providing it, but it was very difficult for me as being a parent to get help and information. So that's why I came to the show.
That is in the absolute DNA of the Dr. Phil show. And we talk about this on a regular basis, and you're right to bring it up. It is a very relevant sort of thing. We have so many resources on drphil.com for it. And let me tell you, parents, if you're the popular mom, the popular dad, where all the kids think you're cool because they can do what they want to at your house, let me tell you, that's a ticket to hell. It's not going to happen.
One thing
I've asked you straight up.
Can
This is, I'm making an offer to you. I will arrange for you to go to Origins Recovery Center. It's a dual diagnosis treatment center. They deal with the psychological issues, the medical and biochemical issues, the addiction issues. I'm offering that to you as a gift to try to get your life back in order. If you want that gift, you need to say yes, but the caveat is you go there from here.
Heather.
No, can I
Could you do this for Casey Brandon? I named my son after her son in memory of her son. That's how much I love Heather. I would do the world for Heather. And the reason I'm here right now is I was going to testify and sit up there, and I do believe Heather's a beautiful, wonderful mother, and she loved her child to death. But you got to understand, Heather, you have a serious, serious addiction.
Okay.
And I watched you almost die last night.
I want you to answer my question. You either are willing to submit yourself to care and treatment or you're not.
Dr. Phil, I am, but I also want you to know that through my whole entire relationship with Brian, he has been abusive. I left him. I divorced him because he was abusive. Then he turned his hand on Brandon.
You should put
I had a restraining order. He had to go to anger management. I mean, he needs help too.
You should
he
put
just put on Twitter about his daughter is too fat, and he's showing her how to lose weight.
You should put that on your. You should put that on your list of things to do at the treatment center.
Yes.
To talk about that and to deal with that.
I don't have anger management problems. He does.
The question is very simple. You are either willing to leave this stage and be escorted to Origins Recovery Center on South Padre Island in Texas,
Heather,
or you're
please.
not. It's yes.
Do
it's
it for
a
Brandon.
yes or no.
Do it for Brandon.
How dare you guys?
Your son,
How too. This is just not what I came on this show for.
I understand. There's a question on the floor, Heather. You're either willing to accept it or you're not.
I don't even know what to say. I'm so confused right now. I am so confused right now because I came here hating him for what he did to Brandon. Now somehow it's always turned around on me, you know, between the media and everybody else.
Turned around on you. I'm offering. You can't be the victim when somebody's offering you a gift.
Thank you, and I thank you so much, and thank you for having me on and listening to my story.
Are you willing to accept this treatment? You asked for help. This is it.
Yes, I would love to, but there's other people involved that need help too.
All you need to worry about right now is you. You're either willing to leave here and go there, or you're not.
If I say yes, can you please look at him and tell him, to all of them, to leave me alone forever? No threats on my Facebook, nothing. I don't want anything to do with any one of those people that have hurt me.
Well,
None.
there's a real simple thing to do, and that's just unplug. Facebook.
No, it's not that easy.
That's not what you need to worry about right now. I'm offering you the treatment. You're either going to go or you're not.
I need to speak with my parents first.
Well,
Her parents are enablers. Her parents are enablers.
Well, you're a grown woman. And
you've always hated him, Brian. You hate yourself. You have no soul. You have no heart.
Heather, you're a grown woman.
Dare you?
So I assume your answer then is no.
No, I'm not saying no.
Because the offer expires when I walk out of here. But understand, I do have a responsibility.
I'm scared, Dr. Phil.
I understand.
I don't really think I have. I have gotten off most of everything on my own with my doctor.
Then it'll be easy.
I came here. I had a behavioral health appointment with a therapist, and I said no to them to come to your show.
Good. It's a good choice.
So if this is a better choice for me to go there, then of course I'm going to say yes.
Well, do you think I know what I'm doing?
I want to heal my heart.
Do you think I know what I'm doing?
Yes, I do.
I think this is a life-saving offer for you.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
I think it's a life-saving offer for you.
I hope so.
And, understand, since starting this show, I've received 5 million letters of people asking for help, and very few get through. You're here. I'm offering you this help. And you need to take it. And understand there is a condition. And you can't go backstage and change your mind. So I'm just asking you to do this voluntarily.
I was just hoping to die naturally. I never, ever thought of hurting myself.
Well, no, I don't mean that. I mean just, hell, if it hadn't been for Bernice, you'd be dead now. I'd be talking to an empty stool if she hadn't kept you alive last night.
Then that's my destiny.
Yeah.
Your destiny is to get help, Heather.
If it's your time, it's your time.
Well, then die at Origins. I'm asking you.
I'm scared. I am scared. I mean,
we'll talk about it more backstage.
How scared I was to even come here?
Oh, I can imagine.
I have been in that house being afraid to go anywhere for so long for the sake of being, fingers pointing and everything, and not everybody knowing the whole story.
So, you going to go or not?
Yes. Yes. I will go.
We'll make the arrangements. We'll get you transported there. We're going to sit down with you backstage. We're going to pop up a website, show you where you're going, give you all the information, all of which you're entitled to. But you're going somewhere because
Doctor,
look,
I'm a mess. I have so much anger inside. I don't know what, that's why I'm here. And, you know, I did place a lot of, can I please place a lot of anger on other people? Like, I blame other people.
Yeah.
When, you know, it was hard on me. I'm the one who found my son, and it was easy just to say it wasn't, you know, I could have done something differently. I mean, even the doctor said, oh, he didn't suffer. He died in his sleep. It was an accidental overdose, which helped me. You know, so I'm scared. I am so scared of being without my little dog, which is my, you know, and my parents and my home, which I have squirreled away in because of what people have done to me, like Brian.
well, this is your first step back into life, and I accept your commitment. Okay? All right. Well, thank you very much. Try to turn this around. Okay. All right. Even though Heather accepted my offer of treatment on stage, she changed her mind after the show was over.
I want to go home.
So staffers called 911. The police were dispatched, and an EMT found reason to take her to the local hospital for evaluation. Heather was evaluated by doctors at the local hospital, held overnight, and released the next day. She decided to fly home and not to a treatment center.